Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Bhakti Janavallabha Giridhari Yodanandana Jaivanandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Janavallabha Jaya Giridhari Jaya Giridhari Yodanandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Gurudeva 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 Jaya Vishwad Varamahansa Padivacharya Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, ISKCON, we believe through Srila Prabhupada, Srila Goswami, Sri Ramacharya, Srila Das Thakur, Shri Radha Giridhari, Shri Govinda, Shri Jagannath Subhadra, Viraj Maharaj, Shri Bhagavatam, Gaur Bhakti, all Gaudiya devotees, all Gaudiya devotees, all Gaudiya devotees. So once again, thank you very much for coming this morning together to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam, also read part of the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. So I'll start with reading this Prabhupada Lilamrita. To concentrate on completing volume 3, Bhaktivedanta Swami returned to the Radha temple. These were the last chapters of the first canto, dealing with the advent of the present age of Kali. There were many verses foretelling the society's degradation and narrating how the great king, Parikshit, had starved of Kali's influence by strong Krishna conscious rule. In his purport, Bhaktivedanta Swami wrote that government could not check corruption unless it rooted out the 4 basic principles of religion: meat eating, illicit sex, intoxication, and gambling. You cannot check all these evils of society simply by statutory acts of police vigilance, but you have to cure the disease of mind by the proper medicine, namely educating the principle of Brahminical culture or the principle of austerity, kindness, mercy, and truthfulness. We must always remember that the false pride, undue attachment to women, or associating with them, and intoxicating habit of all description will cripple the human civilization on the path of actual peace. However, the people may go on clamoring for such peace at work. To raise funds for the volume 3, Bhaktivedanta Swami decided to try Bombay. He traveled there in July and stayed at the Prem Kutir Dharamshala, a free ashram. Srila Prabhupada, at Prem Kutir, they received me very nicely. I was going to sell my books. Some of them were criticizing what kind of sannyasi is making business book selling. Not the authorities say this, but some of them. I was writing my books, and then also. Then I became a guest of for 15 days with a member of the Dalmia family. One of the brothers told me that he wanted to construct a little cottage in his house. You can live here. I will give you a nice place. I'll give you a nice cottage. I thought, no, this is not good for a fully dependent and patronized by a Vyasi materialist. But I stayed for 15 days and he gave me exclusive use of a diaphragm for writing my books. So, thank you. Prabhupada Leela Mitra Ki Jai. 1 second. Everybody can hear me properly, or is it light?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Do you want me to share the screen for the...
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. So this morning we will delve into the text of Bhagavatam, Canto 4, chapter 23, verse 26. Thank you, Abhay Prabhu, for sharing. So this is the verse for this morning. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I'll read first and then devotees can take turn to repeat. Thank you. Saisanunam prachanti urdhavam anu vaishnayam patim sati ashyatamam patiyar archir dhruva dhurvibhachanena karmana. Anyone will try to try?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I am trying.
Thank you.
Shaishanunam rajati urdham anu vainyam putim shati pashyatashman atitarchi dhurvibhaktena karmana.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I'm Nanda. Shaishanunam rajati urdham anu vainyam putim shati Pasyatasman utityarchi durvibhavyena karmana. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Bhaji. Anybody else? Okay, no one. So anybody would like to try the synonyms?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, shall I try the synonyms, please?
Yes, Madhi. Thank you very much.
Sa, she, Esha, this, Nunam, certainly, Rajati, going, Urdhvam, upward, Anu, following, Vainyam, the son of Vena, Patim, husband, Sati, chaste, Pashyata, just see, Asman, us, Atitya, overpassing, Archihi, of the name Archi, Durvi Bhavyena, by inconceivable, Karmana, activities. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Anybody would like to try to read the translation?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you.
By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: The wives of the demigods continued. Just see how this chaste lady Archie, by dint of her inconceivable pious activities, is still following her husband upward as far as we can see.
Thank you, Balaji. Anybody would like to try the purport? I'll read the purport. Thank you. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada today. Both Prithu Maharaj's airplane and the airplane carrying Queen Archie were passing out of the vision of the ladies of the higher planet system. These ladies were simply astonished to see how Prithu Maharaj and his wife achieved such an exalted position. Although they were the wives of the denizens of the higher planetary system, and Prithu Maharaj was an inhabitant of the inferior planetary system, the earth, the king, along with his wife, passed beyond the realms of the demigod and went upward to Vaikuntha Loka. The word Urdhvam, upward, is significant here. For the ladies speaking were from the higher planetary systems, which include the sun, the moon, sun, and Venus, and up to Brahmaloka, or the highest planet. Beyond Brahmaloka is the spiritual sky, and in that spiritual sky, there are innumerable Vaikuntha Lokas. Thus, the word Urdhvam indicates that the Vaikuntha planets were beyond or above these material planets. And it was to have this Vaikuntha planet that Prithu Maharaj and his wife were going. This also indicates that when Prithu Maharaj and his wife Archie abandoned their material bodies in the material fire, they immediately developed their spiritual bodies and entered into spiritual airplanes, which could penetrate the material elements and reach the spiritual sky. Since they were carried by two separate airplanes, it may be concluded that even after being burned in a funeral pyre, they remain separate, individual persons. In other words, they never lost their identity or become void or imagined by the impersonalists. The ladies in the higher planet system were capable of seeing both downward and upward. When they looked downwards, when they looked down and they could see that the body of Prithu Maharaj was being burned and that his wife, Archie, was entering the fire. And when they looked upward, they could see how they were carried into the airplane to the Vaikunta Lokas. All this is possible simply by Durvibhayana Karmana, inconceivable activity. Prithu Maharaj was a pure devotee and his wife, Queen Archie, simply followed her husband. Thus they can both be considered pure devotees, and thus they are capable of performing inconceivable activities. Such activities are not possible for ordinary men. Indeed, ordinary men cannot even take to the devotion and service of the Lord, nor can ordinary women maintain such vows of chastity and follow their husbands in all respects. A woman does not need to attain high qualification, but if she simply follows the footsteps of her husband, who must be a devotee, then both husband and wife attain liberation and are promoted to the Vaikunta Lokas. This is evinced by the inconceivable activities of Maharaj Prithu and his wife. Om Jnanatinidasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksharantam Yenai Tasmai Sri Guruvei Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishnapstaya Bhutale Mate Tamal Krishna Goswami Namini. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishnapstaya Bhutale Mate Bhakti Vedanta Samiti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Vishesha Shunivadi Pashyata Desatani. So before I start some comments on this very important verse, I'll just to let you know that I'm just doing this as a service for my own purification. So any defect or any question, please come forward to, do not hesitate to correct. Thank you, Hare Krishna. So this is a very important verse, and you see this verse is reading from where Prithu Maharaj, after undergoing such severe austerities, and he managed to leave his material body and depart. And when his very chaste wife, Queen Archie, saw that her husband has just departed and there was not much life symptoms, she lamented just for a while and then took a bath, circumvented the funeral pyre, and then entered in the fire with repetition. So by seeing this, the ladies of the denizens, the demigods' wives, were quite amazed, and they showered flowers and they started talking among themselves. And this verse here indicates what their feelings were. And when yesterday we saw the previous verse, verse 25, which Vishnupati Mataji explained quite well, that Queen Archie was so exalted that the denizens of the heavenly planet, the ladies, were just talking on themselves and praising her and showering flowers. So the point arises, how is that Queen Archie achieved this status? As mentioned by previous speakers, in these many chapters of Prithu Maharaj's activities on the material world, there are very few verses actually mentions Queen Archie. I think there are about 10 verses. So in spite of so many chapters praising Prithu Maharaj, and in spite of being very minimally mentioned in the Bhagavatam, we can see from this verse that she also achieved the same goal as her very exalted husband, Prithu Maharaj. So how is that possible? In this purpose Srila Prabhupada mentioned is the word Durvibhayana Karmana, inconceivable pious activities. So what are these inconceivable pious activities? So if we can recap yesterday's verse, it says that the Queen Kunti has served her husband with mind, speech, and body, exactly as the goddess of fortune served the Supreme Personal Godhead, Ganesh or Vishnu. So the way she served her husband with body, mind, and speech. These are the keywords that qualified Queen Kunti to achieve this exalted position. And we see these words repeating in many times in Srimad Bhagavatam and also in Chaitanya Charitamrita, how the how the devotee serve another devotee or a disciple serve the spiritual master with mind, speech, and body. How the sannyasi, sannyasi, take up this message of the Godhead by serving with mind, body, and speech. So we can see how Queen Archie served her husband by body. First, when normally a chaste wife will bow down to her husband, this is just paying obeisances. This first action of the body to serve an exalted devotee or husband in a very wise way is to offer one's body in the service. But just by doing obeisances, we normally are indicating that we are willing to serve the person whom we are bowing with the body. So there are 8 angas, and when we engage all these angas in the service of the Lord or the devotee or the wife serving the husband, this actually makes the husband gives very satisfied and just give a blessing. So this is how she served her husband. Of course, he served the husband in many other ways because he was undergoing so much austerity by looking after his day-to-day requirements, bathing, clothes, what he needs, prasadam, shelter. But he was so much engrossed in his devotional service, he was not aware of what was going on. So Queen Archie served her husband in such a perfect way through her body. So one who serves like this automatically achieves the blessing of the person whom they are serving. Then she served Prithu Maharaj with speech. The speech means, we see in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the story of speech is mentioned in chapter 18, verse 15, 17-15. Anuvegda karma vakyam satyam priyahitam chayad sadhyaya abhyasanam chaiva valmayam tapa uchyate. A studious speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to the others, and also regularly reciting the Vedic literature. So, way to please a person or a spiritual master, devotee, a husband or wife is this way to consider a studious speech. What it says, the speech should not be agitating. It should be pleasing, truthful, and beneficial. Now, excuse me. Yeah. So when with such as pleasing words, the pleasing word doesn't doesn't take much of our energy. Just it's the mind and our mood, the way we say, it can be very agitating or pleasing. So one of the qualities of Queen Archie is that she spoke to her husband in a very pleasing way, beneficial way, and without agitating. And it should be truthful. So these are the 3 things: pleasing, hitam, priyam, and satyam. Satyam means truthful. Hitam means beneficial, and priyam means pleasing. So one who speaks like this automatically gets a blessing of the person being served. So yesterday, Mataji briefly mentioned about the great devotee, Kadama Muni and his wife, how the wife served the husband so nicely in spite of so many difficulties, and she achieved his blessing, and eventually what she lost in her youth by serving him so nicely, the husband, because he was so pleased, was able to reciprocate eventually by giving her so much material pleasures which are beyond one's imagination. So this is the benefit. So because Queen Archie served her husband with bodies and speech, her husband became very completely pleased, and the blessing went to her. Similarly, we can see, this principle of serving and getting reciprocation from the person being served is very also important in all devotional service, especially serving the spiritual master and also serving the devotees. Just by our pleasing words, serving the spiritual master in a very humble mood, and also in very nice pleasing words and in truthful way, spiritual master become very happy and empowers the disciple to progress very rapidly in spiritual life. So this is secret of success, to speech, to very submissively serve the spiritual master with mind, body, and speech. He says the first class disciple is one who knows instinctively what the spiritual master needs. And the second class disciple is who has to be told what is required to be done. And the third class disciple is one who's being told what to do, but he doesn't do it, or he has some reservation of doing it. So the first class disciple instinctively knows what the spiritual master needs, how he can serve. So when the spiritual master knows the mood of the disciple, of course he becomes very happy, and he blesses the disciple to make rapid spiritual progress. Just yesterday, I was fortunate enough to have dinner with His Holiness Krishna Goswami Maharaj, and I was seeing how the disciple is serving him so nicely. And Maharaj's slight wound in his hand, and I could see Draupadi Mataji being so motherly. He said, "Maharaj, what happened? And can I bring some ice?" Because he had some blood clotting on the hand. And Maharaj was so taken aback. He said, no, I don't do this. And he said, "Oh, she's just trying to serve me like my mother." And just by this feeling of reciprocation, that spiritual master needs this service, or to give us some comfort, to give him some comfort, he's serving the spiritual master by body, by speech, and by mind. The spiritual master became very happy. And that, because it's a reciprocation, the disciple, because of getting the blessing of the spiritual master, makes very rapid advancement. Similarly, we can see also, yesterday I can see that His Grace President Prabhu is serving his spiritual master so enthusiastic, so nicely, in such a nice mood. Before Maharaj could say anything, he knows what to bring, how to bring, what to say. And Maharaj could see that his all arrangement, his itinerary, his travel arrangement, his transport, his prasadam, his comfort, everything being taken care of so nicely. And that requires a lot of effort and planning. It doesn't come out by saying, "Oh, well, this should be done, it should be done." It needs a lot of preparation. And the way the spiritual master is being served by all these disciples is just amazing, because I have also undergone through this experience previously, in serving my spiritual master in so much austerity, so much how to plan, how to please the devotees, how to receive the guests, how to make arrangement for transport, prasadam, programs. It's a lot of austerity. And the way the devotees, especially His Grace Krishna who looks after this, is just amazing. Then I can understand where he's getting enthusiasm is because he's looking after his spiritual master with mind, body, and speech, and you're getting this reciprocation, the spiritual master. So one of the things we learned from this verse is that whatever the condition, like Queen Archie served her husband, and the husband also looked after the wife, her protection, looking after her daily needs, empowering her in whatever activities she's doing, and then the success is guaranteed. And this can also, in the last verse 25, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that he says that we should understand the necessity of maintaining family life in human society and should thus abolish this artificial law known as divorce. The husband and wife should live in Krishna consciousness and follow in the footsteps of Lakshminarayan or Krishna Rukmani. In this way, peace and harmony can be possible within this world. So what Queen Archie is teaching us, how to serve the husband with mind, speech, and body. In that way, there will be reciprocation from both sides, and husband and wife can progress very nicely in spiritual, make rapid spiritual progress. And there will be no necessity of divorce. Now, divorce normally happens because either of the parties have very harsh speech, the speech is not pleasing, the body is not one, either party is not serving each other with mind, body, and speech, and that can lead to a lot of agitation. It says in this, and not agitating others. This verse 17, 15, it says, a student's speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and non-agitating to others, and in regularly reciting a very clear teacher. So one who is not, one's words are not harsh, not agitating, and in the opposite side, which are pleasing, truthful, and beneficial, immediately attracts the attention of the person being served, and there will be reciprocation. And then the spiritual life becomes very, very, very easy. So when these principles are neglected, then this issue of divorce comes in. So I'm not expert in this matter, but this verse strikes me very nicely, that if these are the basic principle of harmonious married life, and here Queen Kunti is exemplifying this principle by serving the husband so nicely. In this also verse, we can see that Queen Kunti also achieved the same excellent position goal as her husband. That is, she's going back home, back to Godhead, and here the denizen of the heavenly planet, the wife of the demigod, could see that Queen Archie is also falling in another aeroplane with the husband, in another plane, with the husband in another plane. So Prabhupada here mentioned a very nice point, that it's not very important to have very high qualification for a wife. So what Prabhupada actually says here, a woman does not need to attain high qualification, but she simply follows in the footsteps of her husband, who must be a devotee. Then both her husband and wife attain liberation and are promoted to the waking the lotus. So against the normal current situation, the wife is serving the husband so nicely. The current thing is that she's being enslaved, she's being victimized, she's being taken advantage of. I know, but here he says, Prabhupada mentioning that without any high qualification, if the wife just simply serves the husband very nicely, the husband should be, the Prabhupada puts a condition, the husband should be a devotee, then both husband and wife can attain this liberation without any issue and go back to God, to the waking of the planets. So currently situation is that husband and wife are mostly working, and the wife also are very highly qualified, and they're earning, and they're going, sometimes they go in separate ways, their goals are not being shared properly, or they don't have the same goal, and there's a conflict. So here Prabhupada, through the example of Queen Archie, is saying that simply by following the husband, serving the husband very nicely, although the wife might not be that qualified, she can attain the same goal. This is a very important issue, because here we can see this is a very good parallel with this verse, with the verse of the Katha of Dhruva Maharaj. In the Canto 4, Chapter 12, Dhruva Maharaj goes back to Godhead. We have a similar situation. Dhruva Maharaj did a lot of meditation, like Prithu Maharaj, and under the instruction of his spiritual master Narada Muni, and he was able to see the Lord face to face, but only for a flickering moment. Then he did his material duties, run the kingdom, look up the kingdom, and retired. But the Kasham, he did devotion service. In the end, he also he called from the Vaikuntha planet to take him back to Godhead. Then we see a similar thing is happening. I just read some of the translation of this chapter, Canto 4, Chapter 12, verse. I start verse 29. Before getting aboard, Dhruva Maharaj worshipped the airplane, circumambulated it, and also offered obeisances to the associates of Vishnu. In the meantime, he became as brilliant and illuminating as molten gold. He was thus completely prepared to board the transcendental plane. When Dhruva Maharaj was attempting to get on the transcendental plane, he saw death personified approaching. Not caring for death, however, he took advantage of the opportunity to put his feet on the head of death, and thus he got on the airplane, which was as big as a house. At that time, drums and kettle drums resounded from the sky. The chief Gandharvas began to sing, and other demigods showered flowers like torrents of rain upon Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj was sitting in the transcendental airplane, which was just about to start. When he remembered his poor mother, Suniti, he thought to himself, how shall I go alone to Vaikuntha planet and leave behind my poor mother? The great associate of Vaikuntha, Nanda and Sunanda, would understand the mind of Dhruva Maharaj, and thus they showed him that his mother, Suniti, was going forward in another plane. While Dhruva Maharaj was passing through space, he gradually saw all the planets of the solar system, and in the path he saw all the demigods in the airplane showering flowers upon him like rain. Dhruva Maharaj thus surpassed the 7 planetary systems of the great sages who are known as Saptarishi. Beyond that region, he achieved the transcendental situation of the permanent life in the planet where Lord Vishnu lives. So very similar scenario of how Prithu Maharaj is going back home, and here how Dhruva Maharaj are going back to Godhead. Both are having trouble in their planes, and here we can see Dhruva Maharaj was worried about his mother, Suniti, but then the Nanda and Sunanda, the two associates of Lord Vishnu, who were taking him back to Vaikuntha Lord, knew his mind, and then they showed him that his mother, Suniti, was already proceeding in another plane that was going forward. So I was just amazed that Suniti, who was not a very welcome queen of the king of the father Dhruva Maharaj, still achieved the transcendental goal. How is that? And here, there's a very important purport by Srila Prabhupada in this verse. In this verse, we says, the great associates of Vaikuntha Loka, Nanda and Sunanda, who understand the mind of Dhruva Maharaj, and thus they showed him his mother, Suniti, while going forward in another plane. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, this incident proves that Siksha and Diksha Guru, who has a disciple who strongly executes devotional service like Dhruva Maharaj, can be carried by the disciple, even though the instructor is not advanced. Although Suniti was an instructor to Dhruva Maharaj, she could not go to the forest because she was a woman, nor could she execute austerities and penances as Dhruva Maharaj did, till Dhruva Maharaj was able to take his mother with him. Similarly, Prahlad Maharaj also delivered his atheistic father, Hiranyakashipu. This is amazing because we see Suniti was a mother of Dhruva Maharaj, but she did not go to forest, did not execute all the stories like Dhruva Maharaj, but she got the same benefit. Why? Because she served Dhruva Maharaj, her son, with mind, body, and speech. She was very concerned that Dhruva Maharaj was being agitated because his father did not take him on his lap, and because of him being a Kshatriya blood, he was being very agitated. But in spite of this, the mother said, only Lord Vishnu can give you what you want. She did not make him feel victimized or did not agitate him or attack your father, it is injustice, you are a victim. But the mother is so pious, so knowledgeable, so far-reaching thought. Is, look, you go to Lord Vishnu and find him in the forest, and he can deliver you what you want. So because of this great austerity, great faith and instruction, Suniti also achieved the same destination as Queen Archie. So very important that sometimes we might think we do not have hope. There are so many impediments. We have so many anarthas, and we are not qualified. But if we hang on to our spiritual master and then to Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada assures us, if one sincerely follows instructions and carry out his mission, help in any small way, very sincerely and very humbly, then the disciple can also go back, because the instructor might not be that qualified, but the predecessor acharyas are so qualified they can rescue us in that way. Such a nice instruction. At least for me, it gives great hope. Although I'm full of anarthas and struggling in spiritual life, just by this this purport by Srila Prabhupada gives me great hope that in spite of all these anarthas, struggling, disqualification, somehow or other, Prabhupada and our spiritual master one day will help me to go back to Godhead. Whatever, maybe if not this lifetime, many lifetimes, but the hope is there. Okay? So this hope is very important for spiritual life. And here we see Queen Kunti, Queen Archie, by serving husband, although not that qualified as her husband, she achieved the same destination. The other thing in this verse, we're getting time, okay, is that it says the activities or the activities of Queen Archie and husband were inconceivable. What Prabhupada writes, he says, so Queen Archie was entering the funeral fire of her husband, and the husband's body was being burned, and she also entered. And then the denizens of the heavenly planet, the vice of demigods, so that she also achieved spiritual body, and she was also going forward upwards to the spiritual sky. And that was amazing. How could that happen? So Prabhupada said all of this is possible simply by durvibhayanana karmana, inconceivable activity. Because Queen Samaraj and Queen Kunti were such pure devotees. And because what seemed to be impossible was possible for them, because they were doing activities which are inconceivable. So this word inconceivable comes up quite a few times in our Vedic literature. We see Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya explains that the Jivatma and the Krishna are simultaneously same and different. Same in the sense that there's similar qualities, but different because the quantity is different. Inconceivable. How that can be possible? Somebody say, okay, how can Krishna and soul be same and different. And somebody might say, oh, this is playing on words. The word inconceivable. Achintya, Vraja, that word. Similarly, in this verse, the word achintya, Prabhupada explained, seem to be inconceivable, because beyond, the word inconceivable means something is beyond our faculty to realize, which is very, very difficult to perceive, because our senses, our mind, intelligence are very, very limited. Some of the concepts are way beyond our understanding. So how is this possible? It's by the mercy of the spiritual master. Something which is like inconceivable. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one can understand these difficult concepts. Then it says, one who has implicit faith in the spiritual master, all the purpose of the Vedic literature are automatically revealed within the heart of the disciple. One who serves the spiritual master with faith and submission, the spiritual master, by his grace, empowers our disciple to understand this inconceivable principle in the heart. So, yes. So the word inconceivable, achintya, is very important to learn in this verse. Sometimes excuse me. Some of the principles are very difficult to understand. Just recently, when we had a visit of His Holiness Bhakti Mohananda Maharaj, I asked him a question which I had been asking for many other devotees, but I asked very innocently, how is that the living entity who is in the spiritual sky with Krishna can come back to the material world? Because in the spiritual sky, all the living entities in the spiritual body are fully cognizant. They are know what the pros and cons. How can they come down? So I just asked this very innocently. I didn't know the implication, because this is a controversial issue. A lot of things have been written and discussed at quite length in ISKCON and other parts of the Vaishnava literature. But then Maharaj said, some of these issues are beyond our comprehension. Because we are not able to conceive the very intricacies of spiritual world. We are very limited in our senses. We just accept what the spiritual master says. So when we come to higher realization, all this can be revealed to us. So yes, some of the things seem very inconceivable, but we should not jump gun and say, oh, I want to know this. At the right time, this thing will reveal to us. So very important to very submissive and humbly accept what the spiritual master said. Although we might not understand it, eventually when you have faith, all this, when you are quite qualified, when you come to the stage, this will reveal within the heart. So yes, Maharaj said, these are very intricate subjects matters and inconceivable. And at this stage, at least for me in our spiritual journey, not in a state to understand these higher principles. We haven't come to the stage. So very difficult, just accept it. Just like child, when they go to primary school, they learn arithmetic 1 + 1 is 2. When they go to high school, they learn the negative numbers. So in primary school, if the children are taught negative numbers, they say, how can there be some negative numbers? Then in higher realms, when they go to the university, they've got imaginary numbers, -i. So how can the imaginary? So higher you go, the more you dwell into it, the more knowledge you get up to our state of understanding, our competence, our intelligence, and this thing will reveal to us. So we should not just jump gun and ask the intricate question. Some are quite inconceivable. So I was thinking about it and discussing with some of the devotees. In my innocence, I asked this question. I knew it was not a good question. And then I regretted asking, because this is some of the things that are beyond my comprehension, inconceivable. Maybe in future, but the mercy of the Vaishnavas, Guru and Prabhupada, this can be understood. So in this case here, Prabhupada explaining this this very devotee, Queen Kunti, Queen Archie, and Prithu Maharaj simply by durvivesana karma, inconceivable activity, she was able to achieve this transcendental position. So sometimes things might not make sense materially. We just accept it initially, and then when we go higher, our understanding become more mature. We become more purified. This thing is available to us. So those main takeaways from today's class, I'd just like to summarize how Queen achieved this transcendental position by serving husband, although she did not undergo the severe duties that Prithu Maharaj did. It is to her mind, word, by serving husband to a mind, word, intelligence. A mind, word, and speech. Very important 3 items. How one can achieve transcendental position by serving a spiritual master, serving devotees, serving husband, serving wife. In this way, one automatically achieve their mercy by reciprocation, and one can, although one might not be that qualified, but by getting the blessing of the spiritual master, by getting the blessing of the husband, one can achieve what seemed to be inconceivable, achintya. So that's one thing. The second is that this comparison between Dhruva Maharaj's journey back home and Archie's Mataji's journey back home is faced that Suniti, although not qualified, just by as an instructor guru and being very humble and very submissive, and she giving the right instruction to Dhruva Maharaj, she achieved the same transcendental position as Dhruva Maharaj. And here, Queen Kunti achieved the same destination. The idea is that although one might not be that qualified, Prabhupada says this incident proves that Siksha or Diksha Guru who has a disciple who has strongly executed devotional service like Dhruva Maharaj can be carried by the disciple even though the instructor is not as advanced. So although we might not be qualified, but just by serving, strongly executing devotional service, even the disciple can carry one who is above him. So this is very strong. This is the one that gives great hope in future. Although I am not qualified, some or other, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, I can be carried forward. Whatever my disabilities and arthurs struggle in life is, if I simply serve Srila Prabhupada sincerely, execute devotional service in a humble state of mind, eventually I have hope. This is like having hope against hope. But Srila Prabhupada says, if someone serves like this, eventually he becomes qualified to receive the mercy of the spiritual master and the acharyas. The person can go back to Godhead. The third aspect is that the inconceivable activities of Queen Archie and Prithu Maharaj, they're very exemplary, although they are in a very high state of mind. We cannot sort of copy it, or at least we can try to follow in the footsteps. We cannot sort of imitate them, but at least give us hope that by their example, their instruction, their guidance, and by their mercy, if we serve very nicely in a submissive way, by their example and by guidance and their mercy, we can also, which is we can also achieve, which is not possible, not conceivable in the present age. So many great lessons to learn from this simple verse. First, serving this wife, serving the spiritual, the guru, the wife serving husband through mind, speech, and body, and then achieve the same results. And then inconceivable activities, something which is not conceivable, we can also, one qualified by the mercy of the spiritual master, we can also understand this very, very intricate subject matter. So I'd like to end here. Thank you very much for your patience in listening this morning. If anybody have any queries, comments, or any reference, please come forward. I'll try and deal with it, or I can ask somebody else to comment on it. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Dhanurram. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. Dhanurram.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much for the very nice class. And particularly we pointed out that the importance of our being faithful to the spiritual master and the Supreme Lord. And that is the great qualification, in fact. And other material qualifications are often not necessary for us for our going back to Godhead. And in fact, I remember that there is one verse in Shetasura Upanishad. It says that Yasha Deve Para Bhakti Yatha Deve Tatha Gurao Rashoite Kotitahi Artha Prakashunte Mahatmana. It is told that one who has those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of the Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. It's in Shetasura Upanishad. It says that in other words, if we have faith in the Lord and the spiritual master and all the Vaishnavas, then itself is a qualification for going back to Godhead, and other material qualifications are not necessary. And we have given very nice example of Kunti Maharani and also Shuniti, Dhruva's mother, Shuniti. And in both the cases, they were not highly qualified, but they have implicit faith in the Lord and the power of the Lord, and that has enabled them to go back to Godhead. So we should always remember that material qualification. In fact, Kunti Devi in one of his prayers has told that those who are puffed up with the material qualifications like good education, good birth, and all that, it may turn out to be an impediment in going back to Godhead. And in fact, although it is helpful often, but unless we have faith on the Lord and the spiritual master, all these qualifications sometimes act as a hindrance or impediment in our going back to home. So we should follow this. We should try to serve the spiritual master and the Vaishnavas. And if we do it faithfully, that itself will enable us to go back to Godhead by satisfying them. And no other qualification, material, whatever it is not necessary. Thank you, Prabhuji, for the very nice class. Let others can express their.
Thank you, Prabhu, for your comments.
Thank you.
Yeah, there are other examples, like we have Mother Sabri, who came from a tribal area, but because she served her spiritual master in such great faith, eventually Lord Ramchandra came and rescued her. I mean, yes, from a very different area, very different background, being a woman of tribal area, just by having implicit faith in her spiritual master, she achieved the same transcendental position. So there are so many examples you can see.
And in fact, Shobhari has immense faith on the word of his spiritual master.
Yeah.
And ultimately, Lord Ram visited him, and he has to wait almost the end of his life till she can saw Ramchandra. Yes, so that is another very good example of that. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Anybody else like any comments? Time is getting just 9 o'clock.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you.
Nice class. I like the way which you mentioned that maybe not in this lifetime, but maybe another lifetime. So we have to think that this is not the only life that we can go back. So we have taken the spiritual journey, and by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, we will eventually go there, but we should not think that this is the only life that we will go. We might take many births, and then eventually the success will be ours if we stick to the spiritual path sincerely. So thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much for the nice comment. Yes. In spite of so many unanswers, disqualification, limited understanding, there's hope. So Prabhupada has given this movement such a wonderful association of devotees, some nice process to make this life successful. So if not this lifetime, Prabhupada has said, well, eventually, if you just stick to him, call his spiritual master's feet, and we can go back to him.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Yeah,
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anybody else?
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, the point you mentioned, the hope should be there. So one day will have. Definitely, that's enough, Lord. So that hope should be there. So we should, as Mataji mentioned that, so maybe not in this life, maybe further lives. If you have that faith and hope, definitely we can achieve by the mercy of spiritual master and Lord. Yeah, that point is very nice, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji. It's a very nice comment.
Yeah,
I
Hare Krishna.
learned about this hope from Shama Mataji's WhatsApp logo. It says hope against hope. So this is our understanding. All those who are so many disqualifications, so many anarthas. We are hoping against hope. That's our Prabhupada, by his mercy, if you just stick to his instruction and his guidance, we can one day hope against hope we can achieve the position that Srila Prabhupada has instructed us. It's very nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
So we'll end here. If there are no further comments, I'd like to thank everyone for coming forward and listening very patiently for what I've been rambling along. Thank you for your patience. Hare Krishna.
Panchakalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo ananta koti vaishnavvrinda ki jai. His Grace Nanda Prabhu ki
Yeah.
Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.